Good morning, beautiful people, and Kamala Harris. Welcome to J-Tech Studios, baby. Today we've got a real nice surprise. We got a friend in the house, beautiful, the lovely, the amazing Miss Lynne. Lynne, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
All right. Lynne, let's start out by maybe telling us a little bit about yourself. You know, like where you're from.
Right,
Long walks on the beach, you know, all that kind of...
I love all that, yes. Well, I come from a place where there wasn't much of a beach. I come from London, England.
From across the pond?
From across the pond.
But y'all are surrounded by
we
water,
speak
though.
oddly, and I get called Mary Poppins.
Yeah. Apparently, people from England, guys, do not like being called Mary Poppins. Apparently, people from the U.S. find it funny. I think because, you know, we're fascinated with accents. We're fascinated with how people from anywhere in Europe probably talks. Australia, other countries. She does have a lovely accent.
Australia's not in Europe.
Not in Europe, no, but I'm throwing Australia out there because it's fascinating.
Fact check.
I'm only throwing it out there. I'm very good with my geography, actually, but it's got a fascinating accent as well. I think we can always agree. When somebody's from Australia, it's throw another shrimp on the Barbie, and but we're all just making assumptions. Maybe they don't even like shrimp over there. And you said there's no beaches in
shrimp.
England.
Correction. In England we call shrimp prawn.
Prawn?
Prawn.
I've actually heard that term.
A famous dish, a great appetizer dish is prawn cocktail.
Prawn cocktail?
Yeah.
Is that basically what we would call a shrimp cocktail
probably,
here?
only smaller, a lot
It's
smaller.
served in a red sauce.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yep.
Red
Shrimp
sauce
cocktail.
made with mayonnaise and ketchup. And it's very nice.
So you say in England there's no beaches, and I just wanted to ask this
there's
real quick.
loads of beaches. It's just I wasn't near one.
Okay.
From London, you need about an hour and a half of travelling in heavy traffic to reach a beach.
Because England is
and it's going to be a stony beach. It's going to be. Yeah, Like Brighton is a great place that Londoners go to. Very beautiful city, but it's shingles. We call the beach shingles, like tiny little pebbles.
Gotcha.
So it's not exactly a place you want to lie out on.
How do you enjoy yourself on a beach with pebbles and rocks?
It's a bit spiky and difficult and uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so
shoes?
You probably, you wear your sandals and you have a beach chair, which is or whatever.
Is it that way all the way going out, like waist deep? Is still rocky?
It goes quite a way west until you come to places like Bournemouth in Hampshire, which is like the beginnings of the British Riviera.
Got you.
As you go west into Devon and Cornwall, and there you've got beautiful beaches. Cornwall is very rocky, but we have our little spots, where there's beach.
You also have beautiful cliffs that overlook the ocean, right?
Fantastic.
Like gorgeous. And
Britain all round is a glorious country with loads of diverse landscapes.
Let's talk about Britain and let's talk about UK, because you and I had this conversation. We are going to get into some politics here in a second, but we're learning right now. We'd love to learn.
Actually, I have a doozy of a question I want to ask here in a minute.
Does it have to do with Mary Poppins? If so, we need you to holster it, bro.
It has to do with censorship in Britain.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that. There's a lot of censorship out here in Europe, but England, actually. But so Britain's not really a country. Britain holds Scotland, England,
it's a
Wales.
Combination there's one government overall, but they also, each country has its own separate government.
So let's see if when you taught me, if I learned correctly, on the, I don't want to call it an island, would they call it, do y'all call it an island? Is it considered an
British
island?
Isles, yes.
Okay.
British
so
Isles.
on the island, the big island of what they would call Britain, on the southern part of the island, you have England, correct? You go up a little higher, or you go to the left, which would be maybe the east, you have Wales.
West. The west side is Wales.
I mean, west. Left, west. I meant west.
So as
west.
you go west, you've got Wales,
right,
and then you go
north,
across
you
the
got
Irish
Scotland.
Sea to Ireland.
But north of England, you've got Scotland, right?
North of England, over Hadrian's Wall, you've got Scotland.
And then you go over what was the sea called? To get to Ireland?
To get to the Irish Sea.
The Irish Sea. Now, but only the northern half of Ireland is part of Britain.
That's right.
And then the
That's
southern
right.
half, which is the larger half of Ireland, they do not consider part of Britain at all.
That's right.
And the quick version as to why
It's
England,
separated.
Wales, Scotland, and the north half of Ireland is Britain is and why the south half of Ireland is not Britain is why? Why is the south half not?
There was various political struggles that brought about differences in religious practice.
Gotcha.
It goes back. I mean, it's a lot of history involved in that.
Okay.
And but Ireland, for instance, has a different currency. They use the euro.
Yep.
So if you're travelling from Northern Ireland to Southern Ireland, you've got to change your currency because in Northern Ireland they use sterling.
Right.
So, and each country has its own parliament, its own government.
Gotcha.
But the overarching government is based in London. So.
I'm very curious. I know your question, John. I'm very curious about your response to his question about England or Great Britain. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're saying that something like 3,000 people have now been arrested in Great Britain over things that they put on the internet. And I want to know what your thoughts are on Great Britain with this anywhere in the world that they'll come get you if you post anything misleading anyone about anything.
You know what he's talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I've heard the threats about, and I hope that
the reason it's so relevant is now Gavin Newsom in California, the governor, has just signed in the bill in California
in a similar bill,
that they can now put you in jail or fine you for posting memes and putting anything misleading with AI against any politician and this is like crazy to me.
Yeah. But what happens, you've got in the Constitution, you've got the First Amendment, which protects freedom of speech. So you have got protections here. So how does that work? Because if one state is making a statement like that and trying to bring a law in like that,
that's fascism.
You've got, absolutely. But at least you've got the First Amendment that can give you some building block to work against that. In England, they don't have that.
Right.
We've got Magna Carta, which protects. It's supposed to be common law, supposed to protect the rights of man, but that goes back centuries, and it's so easy for.
Well, let's break it down like this.
To be overwhelmed and overridden.
This might be an easier way to break it down. You're right. We are a republic here, so we have a constitution, and in that constitution, we have inalienable rights that are afforded to everybody, and no matter how the vote goes, 99% of the population could vote that they want to do away with free speech. But because of our Constitution and us being a republic, even if the vast majority vote to do away with free speech, it cannot be taken away because it's embedded into our Constitution, protecting everybody with those fundamental freedoms that we have over here. So in England, let's stick with England because that is from where you're from, right? In England, do they consider it a democracy, a republic, a monarchy? What would they classify England as?
It's interesting because I was always brought up to regard Britain as a democracy where you did have freedom of speech. And in fact, we had something called Speaker's Corner at Hyde Park. Hyde Park is the central park near Buckingham Palace. In central London, and there was a right for everybody to stand up on a soapbox, and it was particularly common on a Sunday or weekends, for somebody to stand up on the soapbox and say whatever it was on their mind, and that was absolutely fine, and some of the people made outrageous comments, but everybody just smiled and walked past, and it's at it again, sort of thing. So that was fine. But the difference now is, of course, that, whereas someone's standing on a soapbox in Hyde Park, their actual reach is very limited to the people who are around them.
Right.
Now, with the internet, someone can make a statement and it can go global very quickly, as we see. So this has caused that reaction. of, let's shut down the internet. And I've heard politicians say we are going to shut down the internet because people are making criticisms of our country or our politicians, and we're not going to accept that. And I heard that many years ago. And at the time I thought, how could they possibly do that? Well, now they are trying to do that.
Well, Harris and Walls are both the supporters of that. I've seen video of both of them saying, oh yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I don't think shutting down the internet will ever happen. There's too many companies that run the world. I really don't even think it's the politicians and the leaders of the countries that run the world anymore. I think it more or less has to do with the people who donate to their campaigns that actually run them, and in return, they run the world through them as their proxy. But so in England then, so at one point in time, how long ago was that, where people stand on these soapbox? And a soapbox is just a higher point that they could stand on, like a box, a crate or whatever.
It enabled them to stand out from the crowd.
How long ago was that?
But, I'm thinking back to, I'm thinking a few decades ago from this. Now, bear in mind, I haven't been in England for 12 years. I've been here in the States for 12 years. So I'm not in touch with what people are doing currently in the UK quite so much.
Well, we may have a caller, guys.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to just have to let that one ring through.
Unplug it.
Be our first caller.
With a comment.
I can't unplug that particular phone.
Oh,
and then so their point of view there. I guess I'm trying to find out how vast their freedoms are there.
Well,
don't worry about it. It's going to go. It's done.
Felt, when I was living there, it felt pretty free. But things have changed so much, and I just. The
I think that was England calling.
That was England calling, saying, "Oh, like, we're free.
That was the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister wants you."
Oh man,
we're coming to get you.
So we're starting to learn the differences here. Like I think Brazil was it? Didn't Brazil shut down X in their country recently? Gosh, y'all correct us in the comments if you know. We're going straight off of what's on top of our head. I could probably look it up real quick on the computer, but I don't really want to. I think it was Brazil who either did or said they were going to shut down everybody's use rights of X, the platform X owned by Elon Musk. Now, in the United States, we're being threatened right now in California. And, of course, all things come from California. It usually starts in Cali and then works its way across the rest of the country. I don't think certain states are going to grab a hold of this particular one, but we can't sacrifice our freedoms, our freedom of speech. If you want to post a meme of a politician or you want to say anything that you want, I feel like we should have the rights here to say it because we do have the Constitution. We are a republic, and we are afforded that right now. In England, are y'all allowed to say anything you want? Can you say
that would be correct on Brazil shutting down X?
It was Brazil, okay. So in England,
and they're also shutting down all their other social medias.
Y'all still have a king or queen, correct? Y'all still have.
Yes, we still have. Well, we have King Charles III.
And y'all do. I know that it's real popular in England. Y'all love y'all's king and queen, correct?
No, I think there's a growing Republican movement. There's always been a Republican movement in Britain. It's a question of at the moment the current monarch is not too popular with. The Queen was adored, worshipped, regarded, by most people as being an excellent person. But there's very little real coverage of what they really like. So, my concern about King Charles III is that he was a founder of Karl Schwab's World Economic Forum.
Okay.
He drafted. As my information is that he drafted the terms and conditions of the World Economic Forum.
Okay.
So major player there, a founder of it. And that is something that most British people don't know about. It's not circulated. We're kept very much in the dark.
Is y'all's media, well, I say y'all's, but I know you live here and you've lived here for a while now, but I'm going to use that terminology just to keep the talk clear, but y'all's, theirs, is let's say you live over there. Are you allowed to say anything you want about King Charles? Is there a cutoff? Is there a limit of something you can't say that can get you thrown in jail?
I think so. There's such a thing it's called a D-notice. If you say something, a D-notice is...
Can you scoot her mic a little bit closer?
Yeah, a D-notice is issued if you say something that doesn't go down well. And it's a way of preventing
it's a cease and
freedom
assist.
Of speech. Yeah.
So it's like a warning, and then they'll take it escalated further if you don't quit.
A D-notice is a complete cease and desist.
You shut it down.
Yeah, complete shutdown. So, it's... I don't know anybody who's encountered one, but I know people in the press do encounter it.
They do. Okay, so the press does.
So a lot of information, if it hits hard on people in high places, they'll a denote anything. They will justify it by saying it's an attack on the security of the realm.
Got you.
So that's the justification of it. So no, there isn't freedom of speech from that sense. That there are things that. Are not allowed to be said.
Okay.
And that's how it's shut down.
What about, of course, you'll have freedom of religion, right? And
yes, freedom of religious tolerance is definitely safeguarded. I would say that up until recently, until the time I came to the States, I never felt that people were being stopped from practicing religion at all. It seemed to be pretty open and I would have said that Britain was very tolerant, one of the most tolerant countries on that score.
Yeah.
Something
for a long time.
For a long time.
There are a lot of countries that are not tolerant, especially in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah, and in Europe as well. I've lived in France. I've lived in Italy. The Italians are pretty tolerant, actually, but I have lived in countries where there was far less tolerance of other racial and religious groups.
Yeah.
And I would say that when it comes to that in Britain, there's a much higher level of tolerance than there is in other countries.
Gotcha. Now, since we're a little bit pressed for time, because I know that you only have a short time with us today, but I definitely want you to come back on. Let's switch the topic. Let's go to Neuralink. We were talking about Neuralink with Elon Musk and AI technology and talking about how scary but yet how beneficial Neuralink could be. And if y'all don't know about Neuralink, it's a creation from Elon Musk where they will implant a chip into your head, wire it to parts of your brain. And we were talking about how, of course, it's always presented as good technology. If you have Parkinson's, it can cure your Parkinson's. If you are crippled and can't walk, then it's will allow you to walk again. If you have this, that, or the other, it will fix what's wrong with you. And so we're sitting here talking before we started the podcast, and we're saying how it's a good thing, but a scary thing at that. And I was hoping maybe you wanted to elaborate a little bit on maybe some of the scary sides of it.
As we discussed before we went live, my concern always that I can see the benefit. People who have Parkinson's, people who have major problems with their nervous system could benefit enormously. But it's always the medical aspect always seems to trail behind other motivations, and when most technology, it looks to me like most technological innovation is used for weaponization and for military use. And that's where my concern is. It's very hard to create something and then control. You have intellectual property laws, yes, but the application of things, somehow it gets commercialized, money changes hands, and it goes into the hands of people who have that motivation. So that's what my concern is.
The military aspects of it are incredible. What you could do with Neuralink, on a military scale, I think, as far as assassins, if you can take somebody who's crippled and make it to where they can walk again, then I'm sure that you can take somebody who is normal, not crippled, let me put it like that, and make it to where they can climb a tower, leap far distances, do things that are almost what we would consider superhuman. Do something maybe like Superman can do, but maybe not as much. But you get my point. You can create one hell of a hitman with it. What do you think, John?
I saw a movie kind of like that, man, where they had these things embedded. They push a button and make them click, and all of a sudden they're out there trying to assassinate a president. I mean, yeah, that's some scary shit.
I will give Elon Musk this. Now, he's approached world governments, AI industry leaders. He's approached numerous people numerous times on cracking down and putting restrictions on AI technology, putting, having it more governed or more regulated. He's issued warnings to people over and over. He says nobody will listen to him, that the breakthroughs in AI technology needs to be regulated, and it needs to be regulated now, that it's one day just going to run away from us, and that we need to start putting kind of a check and balance on it before it's too late. But, of course, people, money, companies, money, they're in it for the money, so nobody's stalling it at all. But there needs to be some kind of government overwatch or some kind of regulatory body or some kind of restrictions put on this type of technology, because AI in general, I mean, even if, and this coming from Elon Musk, which every one of his projects he's working on consist, I would imagine, of AI technology, from satellites in space to sending rockets into space, people to Mars. I think he's digging tunnels underground. He's got underground in LA to try to solve the traffic problems there. He's got all of his Teslas have AI technology. He said as soon as one Tesla learns something, all Teslas learn it at the same time. So if one Tesla is driving down the street and recognizes something, all Teslas learn it at the same time. And so, like, the AI applications that he's got, it feels like everything in Neuralink, but everything he's doing probably has some sort of AI embedded into it. And he's the man calling for, we need to restrict this. We need some sort of oversight committee. We need to slow down, just a little, pump the brakes, take a look at what we're actually doing with this technology. But he claims nobody's listening to him. Do y'all think that do you think, Lynne, that AI should, have some kind of governance onto it, or a committee or something?
Who is going to impose that governance? Because we are not controlled by governments.
I don't know.
We are controlled by corporations. Corporations have overwhelmed. They have the money and the resources. You think, so governments ultimately, stand in line behind greater, more influential powers,
like big corporations,
like the big corporations,
like the people that have got the money.
This is where sovereignty has become dispelled, because
I agree.
An overarching
I'm like opposed of getting the new iPhone now. I mean, it's made by China, and it's got the new.
Aren't they all?
Oh, but look at this.
Yeah, well, it's AI now.
But about
iPhone
all these
16
exploding
is AI.
You know about these exploding cell phones?
Yeah, let's transition into that. That's great.
I mean, this
Loading
recently,
beepers,
loads of people got.
Now they're sticking them in goats' asses and sending them across.
I think that last one was a joke. But
yes,
are you referencing the
attack,
the pagers exploding in Lebanon with
Lebanon? Yes,
it's not Hamas, but it's
phones
Israel.
Loaded up with explosives.
What was it?
It's Israel.
Israel did the attack on what's the terror group?
I think that the mobile phones were produced in Hungary. They were loaded up with explosives, and then they were imported and.
So,
used.
But they've killed. I think they've killed thousands of people with these explosions.
Yeah.
But are they giving them
Makes
to
you
the
scared
terrorists?
to get one.
I mean, it really does.
I don't know what route was taken to get them there.
I thought that they were just normal phones, and they have the capability to tap into anybody's phone and make it explode, that there wasn't actually explosives put into the phone. Now, I did not research this. I just saw what I saw real quick, and I haven't had time to research it, but I should because it's interesting as can be.
Yeah,
but can they just tap into your phone at any time and make it explode? You know, we do know phones were exploding for a while with the battery.
Bombs have been exploded, haven't they? I mean, it's the use of a cell phone to trigger.
To trigger a bomb. Yeah. Well, I think it was the pagers first. Then they had walkie-talkies, and then they made the walkie-talkies explode. So I don't know if they were produced and handed to these people, and then Israel lit the fuse on it, or if it was just a phone that any average person holds in their possession, or walkie-talkie or pager, and then they can tap into that and make it. I don't know. I wish we had a video on it. We're gonna have to come back to that one for sure. I mean, that's completely crazy if they really can tap into anybody's phone and just make it explode. That's, you know, speaking of phones, I hear that everybody who owns an iPhone, there's slave labor put into it at somewhere in the assembly line at some point, because they take, cobalt batteries, and there's only a handful of actual major cobalt mines out there. I think they found a big one in Idaho in the United States, the state Idaho, but I hear like in India and Africa there's these cobalt mines, and you can actually find videos and pictures of these mines and of these children and of these women, and they're barefoot, and it's slave labor, and they're in these mines with no protective gear whatsoever, no masks, nothing. I've even seen images of moms with babies like attached to their back and stuff, and they're digging with rudimentary tools, just like a makeshift type hammer, and they're just hammering away at the dirt to produce this cobalt to give to the next, you know, part of the assembly line to make the batteries of the phone. And it's like an important element, I guess, within the phone itself, and I think it has to do with making the battery life last longer, I believe. Have y'all heard anything about that?
I've just on passing, I've done nothing in depth. Nothing that I haven't researched it, but I have heard of it as being
well,
very,
it's kind of funny that you bring up.
Let's see.
Kind of funny you bring up slave labor, though, because I just heard last night that Kamala Harris comes from a bunch of slave traders in her family. That's kind of interesting.
Well, you gotta have to go. You have to go further and say where you heard it from and who you heard it from. Real quick.
I'll plug Candace Owens. I love Candace, but she had a deal last night that dug all up into Kamala's business, and Kamala's daddy, he come from Irish slave owners, or slave traders, excuse me, slave traders. They were, trading slaves to the countries that still have slaves. So I found that really interesting to find out about her. Then she's not really black; she's white and Indian, according to Candace, anyway.
She would still be considered black if she's Jamaican, I guess. But I've heard a lot of people call her African American. That's incorrect.
Just because you're Jamaican don't make you black.
No. Obviously.
You go to any other.
I mean, Elon Musk again is from Africa, and he's a white dude.
You go to any other country, and they don't label you as African English.
In England,
they say they're England. They're English speaking people. They're English.
We have that in England as well. They have the whole long list of categories of people from different origins, and West Indian. We've loads of West Indians in Britain, so they would be people who come from the Caribbean countries, and maybe originally going back in in centuries, they came from Africa, but then they were imported into the West Indies by the slave trade. And then they assumed a West Indian identity. So, I mean, I don't know quite how it works in terms of ethnicity.
But I don't call them
But they would, somebody born in Barbados, Jamaica, or countries like that would be classified as West Indian. In Britain.
Y'all don't say, black British or black, Mexican American. It's like it's crazy how we label with races out here in the U.S. Everybody's American. Let's just keep it everybody American.
The statisticians don't see it that way.
Go to my computer real quick. This is a cobalt mine in the Congo.
Oh my gosh!
And they say they use these mines to power EV vehicles, to power cell phones. I mean, we can just kind of, if you flip through, I mean, you've got, you've got children in these mines. You've got, I mean, it's just real bad. No protective gear.
Looks like horrible living conditions.
No, nothing. I mean, they're just digging for cobalt. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And everybody's got an Apple phone these days, or a phone that probably consists of cobalt. Take it off the screen. Remove it.
It's very good to bring this to public notice.
Yeah, I mean, you do a simple search, you can find it. And I don't know. I mean, we do have that cobalt mine now in Idaho, I believe in. Yeah, sure. We could put people to do it the right way. They say the phones would cost probably 4 times as much. I would be willing to pay 4 times as much for a basic iPhone to know that it doesn't have slave labor attached to it. I don't know if a lot of people have the money to do so. I don't even know if I would have the money to pay $4,000 for an iPhone or $3,000.
Well, I mean, they come out freaking every year. I can't afford to buy every iPhone anyway.
That's the problem right there. They do.
I mean, every year, the iPhone 15. Oh, now it's the iPhone. Man, by the time you get an iPhone 16, they have the iPhone 18 come out. I mean, it's like.
That's right.
So you're talking to me about a clip, Megyn Kelly, that you heard, and I think I found the clip. If y'all want to watch it real quick, and then we can react. Let's see what Megyn Kelly has to say.
You never know. And there's lots of some Trump who, for some reason, had a rally in New York. I don't know why. He's not going to win New York. But, I mean, I guess you never know. And there's lots of thoughts from this appearance because it's quite amazing. But the one I want, hold on. I want the one where he's talking about, hold on, where is it? The guy telling the Harry, talking about Harry. Do you guys have that?
Yes, I saw it.
Let's listen to SOT 12.
We can do all of this and more, but patriotic New Yorkers must get your asses out to vote. Gotta get up. Gotta get up. Harry, get up, Harry.
All right, real quick. You had to explain this to me because I've seen this once before. I thought he was talking about some dude named Harry. I thought he was like Harry. And it was like some dude he knew, or I really couldn't put it together. It was like a short clip that came on, like shorts on YouTube. But you explained it to me perfect. And give us just a quick insight as to what he means when he says Harry.
Well, I think when you watch this, he's referring to Harry is not a specific individual. He's really talking about the New Yorker. It's like a stereotypical image of a New Yorker guy who's a bit obese, a bit overweight, and doesn't like to move around very much, and sits on his couch and watches the baseball game or whatever, and doesn't really take much interest in what's going on politically. So this is really he's talking to this sort of unknown stereotypical character that everybody can identify with. This is why it's very funny. I mean that's the way I see it as a
No, it's a great explanation.
Gotta get up. Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry.
I think it's great.
Get up, Harry. Come on, let's go.
He's a comical genius.
Let's go, Harry.
He just knows how to wind up a crowd, doesn't he?
I mean, he does. He
knows how to. He just does it instinctively.
You said it right there. It's instinct. He's got the instinct for it to be a comedian. He could have been probably a comedian if he wanted. He's got perfect delivery, timing, everything. Brilliant. He's funny without even knowing it. I think he's starting to realize how funny he is, giving these speeches and stuff, and everybody laughs and everybody loves it. And he's speaking truth, too.
That's right. That's it. He speaks truth.
A lot of truth.
That's what people can identify with. And when you think about him negotiating, I mean, he's a brilliant negotiator. So when he's talking to world leaders, we're not there. We're not flies on the wall. We can't see what he says and does. But I think, when he characterized the guy from North Korea, Kim Thing, as a rocket man, the way he's able to play with these images. And I think that endears him to a lot of people. I mean, it also antagonizes a lot of people, but it endears them as well. And he's great at breaking the ice. If there's a tension between parties, I can see him going in there and breaking the ice down.
Let me see if you've ever seen this interview right here with Sir Elton John. It's a short,
good British guy.
Say, what's it like?
Oh, no.
I know that you're not a supporter of Donald Trump.
Hang on. I'm trying to get it, but I can't get down to the thing.
I know that you're not a supporter of Donald Trump.
Put it on the screen. All right. This is great. This I completely love. And I love Elton John. I love his music. Everybody knows Elton John's gay. This reporter thought he was going to get a different reaction from Elton John because Trump used Rocket Man to describe Kim Jong-un, the dictator, the vicious dictator of North Korea. And, he's always used it to describe him. And so this is a reporter asking Elton John where Trump got Rocket Man from, obviously one of his songs, how he feels about it. And he didn't get the answer he wanted. So I'm going to scroll down and then back up so we can catch it from the beginning.
I say, what's it like? I know that you're not a supporter of Donald Trump's. He loves your music. How did it feel when he took the lyrics to Rocket Man and he used it as a nickname for Kim Jong-un, and then he gave Kim Jong-un
I laughed. I thought it was brilliant. I just thought, good on you, Donald. I'm the Rocket Man, yeah. Donald's always been a fan of mine, and he's been to my concerts many, many times.
Many.
So, I've always been friendly towards him, and I thank him for his support. Yeah, when he did that, I just thought it was hilarious. I know, because he hasn't heard of me, Kim Jong-un. I'd be very surprised if he had. I've never toured North Korea, and I have no intention of doing so. But it was. I thought it was a light moment, and it was fun.
I know that you're not a supporter
of
Donald.
What a great response from a brilliant musician. I mean, I grew up listening to Elton John. I grew up listening to 70s rock music, Led Zeppelin, because that's what my dad listened to, My parents listened to it. Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Hendrix, Elton John, Janis Joplin, all that.
The Beatles.
I mean, we got it on our wall outside going down the hall, Those
that's right. You got the Led Zeppelin picture.
Yeah, Zeppelin, and the Beatles. We got, Rolling Stones, But Hendrix, what a great response to a reporter who wanted a got you moment and wanted a moment against Trump. And Elton John said, he said, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was amazing. I laughed hysterically, And the reporter even said at the beginning, which I didn't even hear the first time I listened to it, I know you're not a supporter, or there it says it on the screen, I know you're not a supporter of Donald Trump. But caught him off guard completely. I thought that was great. You had mentioned Rocket Man, so I had to type it in real quick.
It was a great segue, as I said.
Yeah, great segue. Even maybe the comedic timing of you've heard it probably before. This goes back to the negotiations and how he makes it fun for himself, at least, where he sends a picture to a terrorist leader saying, I know exactly where you are, and they're like, oh, no, you don't. He sends them a picture of his house, probably a satellite view picture of his house, and they're like, well, how'd you get that? I mean, what brilliance. If you're trying to deter our enemies out there from doing horrific things to us or other people, how great that you send them a photo of the house that they're currently in right now. And it's like, well, test me. Here's your house. Boom. Next thing I've got is we can drop a bomb right on it if you want. And And we're talking about high-ranking terrorist leaders, so we're not just talking about civilians, guys. Of course, we don't want Trump dropping bombs on civilians, nor would he ever. But, you know, I think we're all okay with them. Oh, Hezbollah, that was the pagers. I was trying to, sorry to go back, but it just came into my head, so I had to say it. The pagers, the walkie-talkies in Lebanon that got exploded was the terrorist organization Hezbollah, not Hamas. But anyways, it was great, I thought, and actually quite comical to me that he sent him a picture of his house, you know. There's comedy in that.
Yeah.
I found it funny. John, what do you think?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Yeah. Satire.
Yeah.
It's that satirical quality that opens up perspectives.
Man, there was something. He had President Xi Jinping and Mar-a-Lago, I believe, at one point.
Yes.
And he kind of did a subtle little
chocolate
threat
was it
to
chocolate
him.
Cake or something? I remember there was something that they spoke about
Did
the food, but
say to leader in Mar-a-Lago. How would you spell that?
M-A-R
Lago.
Guys, I can't count, nor can I spell. So
L-A-G-O.
I really can't do much.
So Mar, C,
Xi Jinping.
Mar-a-Lago. L-A-G-O.
I don't know if I'll be able to find it, nor can I remember exactly.
That's a picture of Xi there.
Yeah, he said, he said something to him. He was at Mar-a-Lago. We got Mar-a-Lago, and they're having a dinner. And I think he got a call from an advisor, and then he whispered something in Xi Jinping's ear, and I can't remember it, and it would probably take me too long to find it. And I know we're going a little overtime because it's 23 past 8.
I'm going to have to love you and leave you soon.
All right. Will you tell everybody and us, will you come back on, please, so we can continue more discussions?
If you ask me nicely, I might well do.
Well, you know we love you, and you know that we will ask you nicely. Do we have the round of applause up today? Thank you, Lynne.
You, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for being on here with us. We really, really do appreciate it. We love you. You got a beautiful spirit, and I always enjoy talking to you. All right, guys, with that being said, this is Jake Tech Studios. Please hit the like, the subscribe button, ring the bell, and leave us a comment below. And remember, we love you, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.